We're here for our final interview of the season with head football coach Mike Clark. Bridgewater coming off a 35-14 loss to Randolph-Macon. The Yellow Jackets were really tough on both lines, and I know it's hard to win a football game against a team like that. What happened in that contest?
Well, I think you mentioned it. You got to get control of the line of scrimmage, and that wasn't something we were able to do, on the defensive side of the ball. We knew it was going to be a game of short possessions. That's how Macon plays. Every possession is valuable. And I really think you get into those games, it's kind of like a tennis match. We had really a nice drive that we started, from tough field position to open the game. But, a critical turnover, a turnover, a shank punt, given an offense like that, the short field put us behind. And certainly you had a game where we were doing some things with the running game. Kevon White really had a very good game. But, when you're behind 2 scores in the middle of the third quarter, and you only got 3 possessions left, you weren't able to get into that grind mentality that we actually were doing semi-effectively on offense. But, give credit to Macon. We knew coming in they were doing good things with their offensive line. They had the second-ranked defense in the conference, and it was a game that you had every possession was valuable, and we squandered 1 or 2 early, and it came back to bite us.
Now this weekend is senior day. This class, maybe their last year hasn't gone the way they hoped, but it's a group that has contributed, I think, 22 victories over their 4 years. Some have been here for 5 years. Maybe Matt Johnson has the most victories during his time here. But can you reflect a little bit on that class as a deep class? I think it's a group that's meant a lot to the program.
Well, I think in my time here, the way recruiting is done at the Division III level, it's a volume-based thing. Particularly in schools in the ODAC, and you start with big groups, and the kids that finish, that isn't the norm. I mean, in terms, we have 27 kids. That's a significant group that have chosen that this has been a good enough experience that I'm going to stay here 4 and 5 years, and I've always had a lot of respect for those kids that finish. Their parents or guardians, they gets escorted by significant people, and the one thing about the college experience and the athletic experience at Bridgewater is that it's a shared experience. I mean, a lot of people invest in it, and when those kids walk out, to me, it's always a significant day. We have some great traditions here that I want these kids to participate in. I want them to meet at Memorial Hall, whether the bell's broken or not. At their last game, I think that's very important. I want them to be able to go down and take that picture in front of the scoreboard, at their last game that they played here in Jobson Field. And my hope is that that senior group will rally, chase that. We had to dump some baggage, but we've had a good week of practice. And really for the younger kids, what you do when things didn't go right at the end, they get to make a statement here too. And I've gone into off-season programs where you've limped, and I've gone into off-season programs where you made a statement in week 10, and we got to use that as a little bit of a springboard. There's no question that this isn't who we are at Bridgewater. It's not who we want to be, but and we're going to take the time to change the things that need to be changed. But at this stage of the game, really kind of it becomes about some individuals like you mentioned, Jimmy. I have a lot of respect for because they finished, and I want to make sure they try to finish here in the right way. Big challenge in Catholic. Catholic scores a lot of points. I mean, they got a quarterback I've had to deal with for 3 years now. I know what he can do with the football. They have the leading wide receiver in the country, in terms of number of catches that the young man's made. And so we're going to have some challenges, on the defensive side of the ball. The defense switches again. It goes back to a completely different offense, and Catholic's not a team we're going to beat 17-14. I mean, our offense is going to have to find a way to put points on the board, either and our kicking game's going to have to contribute. But let's see if we had it. We've had one really, I thought, good statement this year. Particularly that second half at Shenandoah. At that time they were an undefeated team. They had momentum. We made a collective statement. We were capable of making one more, and that's going to be a big challenge here for us on Saturday.
Well, you answered my main question. I was going to say you've spoken a lot this year about how you're facing very different systems every week, and it seems to be the same thing this week with Catholic. Anything else you could sort of tell us to preview that game?
Well, I think they play a stack. They play a defense similar to Ham-Sydney, so we'll be good on that. They've given up some points. Now, we haven't scored many points, so I'm sure it's a game they're going to come in here and feeling very confident about. I do think this, Jimmy. We have to I wanted something. We needed to do something defensively, with turnovers, offensively with explosion plays. By being a little bit creative in the kicking game. We need something good to happen early. We've been a team that, you've had a sideline that hasn't had that spark, hasn't had that momentum, and momentum, self-image, enthusiasm. Those are critical parts of this game. And my hope is that if we can go out and do something early that kind of lights that fire, it'll be something that'll just energize a group of kids that, hey, I said this way back, when we lost an early game. We've got enough talent to be dangerous. That's still the case. And I've been proud of our kids this week. They've worked hard. We've worked them hard. We've competed against each other, and they're not taking this line down. And we made a good preparation, but preparation and Saturday execution are two different things, and we got to try to get the latter here today.
And I should mention, some of us just came from Catholic this week, or our field hockey team got an NCAA tournament win over the Cardinals, so big moment for the athletic department. Hopefully you guys continue it this week.
Well, congratulations to those girls. I tell you, nothing beats NCAA tournament wins. Hey, maybe Bridgewater field hockey help Bridgewater football, and I'll take all the help I can get. That being said, hey, good luck to those kids on the road up there this Saturday. Hopefully they get back and maybe we can both ring the bell at the same time.
And just to wrap up, since it's our last week, how does the staff now transition into the off season, and sort of what's the plan there?
Well, I think we really have to, there's got to be a lot of self-study. I don't think there's any question about that anytime seasons. I've managed the parade at both ends, in my time here. I've won a bunch, I've lost a bunch. I think I know what needs to be done. I mean, sometimes, hey, tough decisions need to be made, but I also think you have to do two things. I mean, you got to ID the people within the program that are kind of passionate. You got to ID the people within the program that are willing to take ownership of something this year that wasn't really good, but are willing to do the things to correct it, and that's what we have to do. But as you and I mentioned, gosh, back from day one, Jimmy, in this league, there's a fine line between who's in front, who's first, and who's last. W&L, it's going to be the undefeated champion. They were 2-8 a year ago. Now, they went out and played the same kids, but I bet we're going to go back and study them. We're going to see how those kids changed. A year ago, hey, I'm tied for first. I won 5 games, in the last 3 minutes. I had 6 games decided in the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, and I won 5 of them. And, all of a sudden, we're pretty smart at this time. But there's no question some things got away from us. And the tough thing about our business is what you do in the 7 months between now and August really are going to be determined what kind of team you're going to have August through November. And, we're committed to changing that. It's a great business when you win. It's tough when you lose, but you got to be willing to manage both, and we've shown we can do it in the past, and I look forward to doing here again. It's not the statement we want to make about Bridgewater football, and I think I got enough people committed to it. I think within the institution, there's enough people that it's important to that we're going to move this thing back.